This man is meant for great things. He's tasked with greatness, and he is being irresponsible and not focusing on where his focus needs to be, because he's just like obsessive about this one woman who has multiple other boyfriends, that she doesn't give a shit about spending all his money, that she doesn't care if he's on a military campaign and misses her and wants, her to be there to support. She doesn't care about any of that. And it's just typical and reflects the pattern that we're seeing in these stories.
This perfectly encapsulates the schizophrenia of he's so upset about her cheating. He's so upset that she won't respond. And then at the same time, he absolutely loves her.
O Lord of hosts, be with us, for we have none other help in times of adversity but thee. O Lord of hosts, have mercy on us.
You want to introduce Napoleon, because this was something that you were looking at, and you sent me this this article here, which is absolutely hilarious and tragic at the exact same time.
Yeah. So poor Emperor Napoleon. So we'll talk just a bit about Josephine's backstory and who she was, because probably a lot of people don't know that. They probably know more about Napoleon. And Josephine was nobody super important. She got married, as a teenager, as was, pretty common back then, to a guy who had some noble rank. And she wasn't a big fan of him either. You'll notice that she didn't really seem to be super into any of the men she was with. She seemed to mostly view them as a way to get things she wanted. So her first husband, she did have 3 children with him, or maybe it was 2, but he was having affairs. And this is partially an aristocrat problem, right? Because it's a lot of times wealthy, powerful men of this period, they had wives, but they always had side chicks too. And that's still a thing that happens to this day as well. And she was not having it. A lot of women put up with it back then, but she really thought she shouldn't have to deal with it. Can't say I blame her so much, but these weren't like deeply Christian people who had, an orthodox view of marriage. It was more like you got arranged in marriage to somebody who could, benefit your family and benefit your social status, and that your children would be well off and things like that. So she and her husband were separated. That was not that common. It was in this period, it wasn't so common for the woman to go off and live on her own sometimes. But I think what she did was she actually had her own affairs with people who were able to legally get her separated from her husband and get her a stipend or an allowance where she could live alone and have money and kind of do what she wanted and have all of her own boyfriends as well. And her husband was caught up in the French Revolution. He was persecuted by Robespierre, who had him guillotined, and she was put in prison because she was his wife, although it was aristocracy prison, so it was more like house arrest.
Yeah.
And after he died, she didn't really care about that at all. She immediately started sleeping with men who were the most powerful guys in the new French government so that they let her out of the house arrest situation, and she had some social status. And through one of the guys she started having an affair with, one of these really powerful French politicians, that's how she met Napoleon. And she met him when he was 26 and she was 32. And yeah, by this time, it's believed by historians. Yeah, he was. By this time, it's believed by historians that Josephine had acquired at least one STD, most likely, because by this point she seemed to be infertile because she was having. It could have been through multiple aborts. It could have been through an STD. Nobody's sure, but historians think that one way or the other, she lost her fertility through the promiscuity. And remember, this is the French Revolution. And if you've read my book about the feminists and the women involved in the French Revolution, it was one giant orgy. These people were all very degenerate folks. And she liked hanging out in these powerful circles and met Napoleon when he was young. He became infatuated with her instantly. And they eventually, became each other's main squeeze. They didn't get married right away. In fact, Napoleon got into a lot of trouble with the Pope at the time because being a Roman Catholic, the Pope was like, listen, buddy, you can't be running around Europe with this woman who is basically a harlot. She has all these relationships out of
Divorcee,
wedlock.
or I guess not divorcee, but a widow.
Yeah, widow. She was a widow, but like she had a legal separation from her husband anyway, and everybody knew that she had a ton of boyfriends. Like it was well known. She had a reputation, and her reputation preceded her, and the Pope was like, it's not really a good look for you. You know, like there's theological reasons you shouldn't do this, but especially for you being this most powerful military guy, and he's running these military campaigns and expected to become probably Emperor of France and things like this. They didn't want him with her. Napoleon's family didn't like her. Nobody liked her. They were all like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? He did not care. He was super into her. And when they finally did get married, they changed the marriage certificate that to make Napoleon 18 months older than he was and to make her like 4 years younger than she was, because again, at this time it was kind of socially taboo for this older woman to be marrying this younger man. It was a little bit weird, and they were embarrassed, like they were publicly embarrassed, so they changed the marriage certificate. So that's interesting. And Napoleon actually defied the clergy at the time in the marriage ceremony by placing his crown upon her head. How's that for some simping, right? And then he has to go back to his job. He has to continue the military campaigns, and he's gone a lot. And he always wants her to come with, and she never wants to come with. By the time they get married, she's already kind of bored of him. She tolerates him because he lavishes her with gifts and money, and he takes good care of her children. He was always really, really good to her kids, giving them a lot of money, hooking them up with like good political associations with people who were in power, gave them a lot of behind the scenes help with things in their own lives. So she put up with him for all those reasons, but she clearly did not feel the way about him that he felt about her. And she really didn't, she kind of let him know it. She kind of was like, she was pretty upfront about not giving a shit about the guy. She rarely ever wrote him back. This guy is in the field fighting in wars, writing her letters every single day. Okay, this is like at a time where you couldn't text or call, but he's having couriers run and deliver letters like every single day to this woman, to the point that she was like super over it. She was like, ugh, this simp is just writing me letters every single day. And so she just would rarely respond. She would rarely ever join him. And maybe we should bring up some of the letters here in the article. There's some little excerpts from it that are quite hilarious. And I don't know. Poor Napoleon, he probably never thought that we'd be on a live stream in 2025 reading his most intimate letters. I feel a little bad for the guy, but...
Right. Well, this is a great article that kind of goes over this whole thing. So here's a portrait of Josephine and Napoleon. And so I want to read and kind of go over this because I had never seen these letters. So these little excerpts that you sent, Rachel, these are fantastic. Just to kind of document all this stuff. So it begins by saying, in all seriousness, it's a fascinating story. Napoleon was a young man, Josephine much older and previously married with children. He fell head over heels for her, but she was most likely looking for a way to maintain her spending habits and social status, what you just highlighted. And so this article uses ChatGPT, and it's to summarize it. Endearing letters. Napoleon wrote numerous letters to Josephine that were filled with passion and longing. Some of these letters dripping with affection and sometimes desperation, as we will certainly see, show a man deeply infatuated. For example, he wrote, "I awake full of you. Your image and the memory of last night's intoxicating pleasures has left no rest to my senses." Obsessive behavior. Number 2, Napoleon's fixation on Josephine sometimes bordered on the obsessive. He would write to her constantly, sometimes multiple times a day, expressing his longing and desire to be with her. Number 3, turning a blind eye. Despite being a brilliant military tactician, Napoleon seemed to have a blind spot when it came to Josephine's infidelities. Even when presented with evidence of her affairs, he chose to overlook them, showcasing an extreme level of tolerance and denial. Number 4, extravagant spending. Josephine was known for her extravagant taste and incurred significant debts due to her spending habits. Napoleon, despite being aware of these financial strains, often settled her debts, further showcasing his unwavering devotion and willingness to appease her despite the blatant financial irresponsibility. Number 5, emotion over strategy. There are claims that Napoleon's emotional turmoil over Josephine might have affected his military decisions. His anguish over her rumored infidelity might have clouded his judgment during crucial military campaigns. And then reluctance, number 6, to end the relationship. Despite the political and personal pressures to produce an heir and Josephine's inability to do so, Napoleon hesitated for years to end the relationship. When he finally did decide to divorce her, it was deeply emotional and public affair, with both of them declaring enduring love for each other forever in his heart. Even after their divorce and his subsequent marriage to Marie Louise, Napoleon continued to hold a flame for Josephine. On his deathbed, it said that one of his last words was Josephine. So any comment on some of those overviews? It kind of just encapsulates everything that you just said.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, when it says obsessive behavior, it does. It sounds almost like on a demonic level of like, this man is meant for great things. He's tasked with greatness, and he is being irresponsible and not focusing on where his focus needs to be because he's just like obsessive about this one woman who doesn't really give a shit about him, doesn't care about him, isn't there having his back, isn't there being loyal, isn't supporting his mission whatsoever, is almost flaunting in his face the fact that she has multiple other boyfriends, that she doesn't give a shit about spending all his money, that she doesn't care if he's on a military campaign and misses her and wants, her to be there to support. She doesn't care about any of that. And it's just typical and reflects the pattern that we're seeing in these stories.
Right. And, the humiliation, that's one of the things that I think is so interesting about this story, is that while Napoleon is literally conquering all of Europe, taking down the biggest monarchies, he is being publicly humiliated. And at one point, one of these letters gets brought before it gets caught by the British, and they actually like make it public. They publish it in like public newspapers. And so in Britain, but all across Europe, and especially within France, like, it was humiliating for Napoleon for everybody to know like how he felt and what was going on with Josephine. And the rumors of her infidelity were like infamous. Like, everybody knew. Yeah. And yet he still wouldn't put an end to it. And he didn't stop sending these letters, as we'll see, even when it became apparent. And he'll say, "Oh, I detest you." And then like a few sentences later, talk about how he can't wait to hold her and he's going to give her 1,000,000 hot kisses. It's like, and then she never responds,
By the way, it's also rumored, like historians believe, that Josephine, she had some kind of dental problem with her teeth, where her teeth were just practically like rotted out of her head. That's why there's no pictures of her with her mouth open, and she would speak like this when she spoke. So not some kind of like super hottie. I don't know what, I'm guessing it was that. It sounds to me from the letters like Napoleon may have been like not super sexually inexperienced, but somewhat less experienced than her, and that she was into some wild stuff from her, French Revolutionary orgy days and whatnot, and that she kind of like bewitched him with whatever bedroom shenanigans that he was into. That's kind of what it sounds like to me, so it's a little weird.
Yeah, exactly. She left bro on red.
She totally did. Okay, Patrick, you have to read because it has to be in a guy's voice. We have to hear what it sounds like when one of the most powerful men on earth, who is conquering nations, is writing simp letters.
Oh no, I want to read these because they're hilarious. So I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy this. So let's get into this next section. It says, here are a few Napoleon's hundreds of letters to Josephine, which she often didn't bother responding to, or responded to briefly and neutrally. So when she did respond, she certainly wasn't sending him the affection he was sending her.
She just texted him back with like K.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one letter. Exactly.
K.
So days after Napoleon and Josephine were married, Napoleon left to command the French army near Italy. Throughout the following months, he begged her to join him in Milan for their honeymoon. And so here is a portion of the letter, April 1796. It says, I have your letters of the 16th and 21st. There are many days when you don't write. What do you do then? No, my darling, I am not jealous, but sometimes worried. Come soon. I warn you. If you delay, you will find me ill. Fatigue and your absence are too much. Your letters are the joy of my days, and my days of happiness are not many. Janot is bringing 22 flags to Paris. You must come back with me. You understand? Hopeless sorrow, inconsolable misery, sadness without end. If I am so unhappy as to see him return alone, adorable friend, he will see you. He will breathe in your temple. Perhaps you will even grant him the unique and perfect favor of kissing your cheek. And I shall be alone and far, far away. But you are coming, aren't you? You are going to be here besides me, in my arms, on my breast, on my mouth. Take wing and come, come. Kiss, a kiss on your heart, and one much lower down, much lower.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, that's as down bad and as cringe as a man can really get, isn't it?
No wonder she didn't reply.
Can you imagine she's reading this just going, oh, yeah. It's just so self-deprecating. And he keeps going back and forth between being like angry with her and then trying to schmooze her up, which I find like really amusing as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it goes on. So Napoleon was pleading to kiss her below the belt in his letters, as we heard. So this is now the same year, 1796, but now in July. So we move forward a couple months. And again, Napoleon is on the conquest. And this one reads, I've received your letter, my adorable friend. It has filled my heart with joy. I am grateful to you for the trouble you have taken to send me the news. I hope that you are better today. I am sure that you have recovered. I earnestly desire that you should ride on horseback. I cannot fail to benefit you. Since I left you, I have been constantly depressed. My happiness is to be near you. Incessantly, I live over in my memory your caresses, your tears, your affectionate solicitude. The charms of your incomparable Josephine kindle continually a burning and a glowing flame in my heart. When, free from all solicitude, all harassing care, shall I be able to pass all my time with you, having only to love you, and to think only of the happiness of so saying, and of proving it to you? I will send you your horse, but I hope you will soon join me. I thought I loved that, quote, love comes. Hold on, I missed that. I thought that I loved you months ago, but since my separation from you, I feel that I love you 1,000-fold more. Each day since I knew you, have I adored you, yet more and more. This proved the maximum of Bruyere. I don't know. It's some French word. I'm not sure what that is. That love comes all of a sudden to be false. Everything in nature has its own course and different degrees of growth. I entrust you to permit me to see some of your faults. Be less beautiful, less gracious, less affectionate, less good, especially be not over anxious, and never weep. Your tears rob me of reason and inflame my blood. Believe me, it is not in my power to have a single thought which is not of thee, or a wish I could not reveal to thee. Seek repose. Quickly reestablish your health. Come and join me, that at least before death we may be able to say, we were many days happy, 1,000 kisses, and even one to Fortuna, notwithstanding his spitefulness. Bonaparte.
My goodness. He's like, baby, please get on the horse. She's like, oh, I think it's funny because she was like, oh, I've been sick. And
yeah,
he's like,
I think I'm going to die, Napoleon.
Yeah, you should probably move on. You should probably, find someone else. And he's just like, oh, you have to get better and get on that horse, baby, and ride over here because I just miss you so much. And it's like, I love the chat comments, by the way. I knew the chat would not fail me on this. Where somebody said, I hope you're doing better today. And she was like, not after reading all that. It's
yeah. And this one says, then she read the letters out loud to her boyfriend and they laughed.
Probably. It's what it sounds like. Napoleon got very upset because he was brought evidence and proof of her having an affair with this handsome, younger, she had a thing for younger guys.
Yeah, she did.
Handsome, young military officer. Cougar. Yeah, some guy named Hippolyte Charles. And so he hated this guy. He was like super jealous. I hated the guy, was mad at him. They had beef, you might say. So she probably was like reading these out loud to her boyfriends and they were laughing. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So clearly he demonstrates that he is emotionally dependent on her and put her on an enormous pedestal.
Yeah.
Then another letter that same day. So this is also dated July 17th, the same day as the other letter. So this is one of the days where he's writing multiple letters in a time in which, again, communication took days. So the fact that he's just sitting there while at war, writing multiple letters to Josephine, who's getting no response from.
Can you imagine his generals and stuff around him were probably like, bro we have stuff to do. Like, we got to get to this war we're fighting right now, dude. Like, come on. They're probably just like talking to each other. Like, can you believe this, guy? This is pathetic.
Yeah. So the next one, he writes, I write to you, my beloved one, very often, and you write very little. You are wicked and naughty, very naughty, as much as you are fickle. It is unfaithful so to deceive a poor husband, a tender lover. Ought he to lose all his enjoyments because he is so far away, borne down with toil, fatigue, and hardship? Without his Josephine, without the assurance of her love? What is left him upon earth? What can he do? We had yesterday a very bloody affair. The enemy has lost many men and has been completely beaten. We have taken the whole country around Mantua. Adorable Josephine, one of these nights your door will open with a great noise as a jealous person, and you will find me in your arms, 1,000 loving kisses. Bonaparte.
Bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wicked and naughty.
Barely wrote him back and kept writing. He kept writing emphatically. Shockingly, Josephine was having an affair. Who would have thunk it? So
can't believe it.
During the first Italian campaign, Napoleon began to hear the rumors that Josephine was being unfaithful to him in his absence. He denied these rumors even to himself, and his letters became even more passionate in response. So now, moving forward the same year, we're in November, he writes, I'm going to bed with my heart full of your adorable image. I cannot wait to give you proofs of my ardent love. How happy I would be if I could assist you at your undressing, the little firm white breast, the adorable face, the hair tied up in a scarf. You know that I will never forget the little visits. You know, the little black forest. I kiss it 1,000 times and wait impatiently for the moment I will be in it. To live within Josephine is to live in the Elysian fields, kisses on your mouth, your eyes, your breasts, everywhere, everywhere.
Not the little black forest, Napoleon. No. Oh my God. Oh. That's like level 10 simping. That's crazy.
Right. So, and this is the gentleman that you were talking about. So while he proclaimed how he wanted to kiss her little black forest 1,000 times, she was getting plowed by Chad. Well, what passes as a Chad in France at any rate, but we can all agree that his epaulettes were enormous. 6 days later, he returned to her apartment in Milan only to find it empty. Josephine had left for Genoa, most probably with an army officer, Hippolyte Charles, with whom she was suspected of having an affair. He waited, Napoleon, 9 days for her to return, but the wait began to arouse his suspicions. Really? It took 9 days?
He started to catch on. Good for him.
I've been at war for months, and I come back to her apartment. She's not here. What could it be? Everybody's like, bro, she's off with another dude having an affair. So in mid-March 1798, Joseph's brother finally tells Napoleon outright of the rumors surrounding Josephine. Yet when he confronts her, when he confronts her, she denies everything, angrily suggesting that if he believes such lies, he should just divorce her. Privately, she fumes against the Bonaparte family, who she believes are in league against her. And isn't that like so common of like a promiscuous woman? Like once she's confronted, you're like, oh, well, if you believe that and you don't trust me, then we should just end it right now. And then the simp, oh no, I don't want to end it. I mean, that's just what Hippolyte Charles's brother told me.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, it's just your family. They've never liked me, and they're just trying to break us up. And because she needs this guy to still be paying all her bills and getting her out of trouble all the time. And she knows he's just going to have to leave again for long periods, and she can run off and do whatever. So exactly.
So next letter, we don't have a. Oh yes, we do. It's 2 years later. So imagine this went on for years. So we're now in mid-March 1798. In which Napoleon's fully confronted about the affairs. So the next section says, I'm going to the country, my dear Hippolyte. Yes, my Hippolyte. My life is a constant torment. Only you can restore me to happiness. Tell me that you love me, that you love only me. I send you 1,000 tender kisses, and I am yours, all yours. Yes, my Hippolyte. They all have my hatred. You alone have my tenderness, my love. They must see how I abhor them from the frightful state I've been in. They see my regrets, my hopelessness at being deprived of seeing you as often as I desire to. Hippolyte, I'll kill myself. Yes, I want to end a life which from now on can only be burdensome to me if I cannot be consecrated to you. So that is Josephine writing to her adulterous lover.
Crazy. So, and always the self-deletion threats and the hysteria and the the drama. Like this is the most dramatic soap opera story in history, I think. Right. It's just so dramatic, so melodramatic. Everybody involved is like, if I can't be with you, I shall just delete myself.
Well, but aren't women kind of crazy like that? Like they'll like threaten to kill themselves to like manipulate a man. I mean, I've never been in a relationship like that. I've pretty much stayed away from like massively crazy ladies. But I've heard of friends like being in really toxic relationships where that occurs.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of knows that there's some drama with destiny going on, and there's been a couple different of the women he's been caught up in these scandalous things with, and they have all done the threats of self-deletion too. And it's like the latest one, the one that's suing him, threatened self-deletion unless he was willing to pay for things, give her money, whatever.
There you go.
It was very like extortion-y, you know what I mean? And she's like, let's be real. Nobody in the Destiny Coombe circles is like an innocent victim or a good guy. They're all the same. It's just like these people. Everyone's cheating on everyone. Everyone's lying to everyone. Everyone's sneaky, sharing rumors, sharing videos and pictures with each other without telling the other people. They're all doing it. And then it's like when it doesn't go their way, it's like threats of self-deletion, threats of, like, well, now you have to compensate me or I'm going to sue. And it's such a mess, and I always think this sounds so exhausting.
It does.
I would be so tired trying to deal with. But I know people in my personal life who are this way, and they they mistake this dramatic craziness for passion. Like it feels like love to them. It feels like passion to them to have this like these extremes and this like constantly wondering like, oh, where is she? Is she with him tonight? I'm gonna go to her place and see if she's there. I'm gonna drive by his place and see if they're there. And they get caught up in like this drama. And
Right.
I've never been into that. I don't see the appeal.
I don't either.
I like a nice, boring, stable home life myself, personally. So,
Exactly. So after Bonaparte finds out, Napoleon threatens to kill himself. So she denied it, of course, and realizing that she could lose her wealth and status, she tried to repair their relationship and started warming up to him. Eventually, his family and friends slapped enough sense into him that he accepted the truth about Josephine. Our boy was so despondent that he didn't even want to conquer Europe anymore. And so here is an excerpt from there. The veil is torn. It is sad when one and the same heart is torn by such conflicting feelings for one person. I need to be alone. I am tired of grandeur. All my feelings have dried up. I no longer care about my glory. At 29, I have exhausted everything.
yeah, well, when your life is that dramatic all the time, you're like, conquering armies on a battlefield, and then you got all this super drama going on in the background. I'm sure he was tired by 29. And
Yeah, it
then
makes sense
he's
why he was
29 though,
portrayed
you
looking like
guys.
this. I
Can you
mean,
imagine being 29 and you're like conquering Europe, and then you've got this cougar lady who's running around cheating on you, draining your bank accounts, and you're
and your
writing her
family's trying
these
to tell
letters.
you, and your friends are trying to tell you, your military generals are trying to tell you, and you're like, nope. And so like the massive military success he had combined with his public humiliation is like unparalleled. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty
next
bad.
section, even worse, the letter was intercepted by Admiral Nelson and published in British newspapers. So the entire world found out that Josephine was cheating on him.
Bro.
Eventually, he divorced and remarried a 19-year-old Austrian princess, Marie Louise, in part because Josephine couldn't get pregnant and
Mhm.
Napoleon needed an heir. Josephine had tried to convince him that it was his fault, typical, and that it was his fault that she couldn't conceive. But the truth was that she was too old, or like you said, could be STDs or previous abortions. This is speculation, but certainly she
Right.
couldn't get pregnant one way or another.
Right.
Once Napoleon started sleeping with mistresses to try to get over Josephine and began getting them pregnant, he realized that he wasn't shooting blanks after all.
Right.
He reportedly loved Marie Louise intensely as well. His new bride reciprocated his affection, and at least until the moment he lost power, at which point she briskly moved on to new lovers. So there you go. But he never got over his love for Josephine, keeping a locket with her favorite flower on his person after she died of a cold while he was in exile and uttering her name on his deathbed.
Yeah. I think that he also, when he married the 19-year-old princess, he told Josephine, like, he was trying to still keep her
Oh,
as a side chick. And he told her, look, my family and the government and the church are the ones pressuring me because there has to be an heir, for the country. I don't really care about her, baby. You're my main squeeze, like I
yeah.
don't, he said she's just a womb to me. I'm just marrying a womb. It's not, she doesn't, I don't love her like I love you, baby. And so they kept this up until Josephine died. Like the thing says, it just never stopped. So even when
Right.
he had this other 19-year-old who did at least seem to like him back until, of course, he
Right.
fell out of favor, he was still trying to keep Josephine. He was still lusting after this much older barren woman who was like totally not into him, and it's just so
And I
crazy.
missed my favorite excerpt. So I don't know how I
Oh
skipped
yeah, you
this,
gotta.
but this was one from 1796 in November. This perfectly encapsulates the like schizophrenia of he's so upset about her cheating. He's so upset that she won't respond. And then at the same time, he absolutely loves her. So we read, I don't love you anymore, Josephine. On the contrary, I detest you. You are a vile, mean, beastly slut. You don't
Ooh.
write to me at all. You don't love your husband. You don't know how happy your letters make him. And you don't write him 6 lines of nonsense. ... Soon I hope I will be holding you in my arms, and then I will cover you with a million hot kisses, burning like the equator.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so good. That's like supreme. Can you imagine being like the British army generals and somebody brings you these? They're like, oh, look what we have. And you're reading it. Can you imagine them just laughing at this guy? Oh my God.
Well, could
bad.
you imagine all the European empires and monarchies that are falling to him, and you're aware of this? That would be devastating. You're like, oh my God, this massive degenerate simp is conquering all of us in battle.